Good evening and welcome to round 7 of the FR America's iRacing Invitational Championship. And this is where the title will be decided. The fans have spoken, and we are at beautiful Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca to be exact. My name's John Phippen. I'm the spokesman for the series. Joining me in the commentary box is Austin Knight. Howdy, Austin.
Howdy, 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 and it's great to be here for the finale of the Formula Regionals America's iRacing Championship here at Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, or just straightforward Laguna Seca.
Indeed, we can call it any of those things because we can. Marco Barbonara is with us. He is providing these beautiful pictures that you're viewing right now, and we are in qualifying mode. This is the first and only race of the season where drivers have had to pre-qualify in order to be racing here in this season finale. The top 20 drivers from last night's pre-qualifying session qualified for the race, and they are on track right now, setting the grid for this 30-minute event, which will take place in about 6 minutes time, as we've got about 5.5 minutes gone in this qualifying session. Quinlan Law setting the early pace, and you're not riding with him, but watching him right now in that green number 22, a 1:16.6. And now Dakota Dickerson, one of the championship protagonists, jumps to the top of the order with a 16.4. Simon Sykes right behind him at an identical time. In fact, the top 3 drivers, Dickerson, Sykes, and Cangialosi, all with identical lap times. 1:16.45 gives you some indication of just how closely packed this field is going to be. Benjamin Waddell now takes over the top spot with a 1:16.303. Let me set the stage for the championship battle. The only drivers that can score points toward the championship are our season regulars, and the top 4 are still mathematically in the hunt. Blake Upton is the points leader, but only by 5 points over Dario Cangialosi, a 2-time winner already this season, I should say. Dakota Dickerson, the reigning Formula Regional champion, is only another 2 points back, so 7 points separates the top 3 drivers. Very much anybody's ball game. Benjamin Pedersen, who is 4th in the points and coming off back-to-back wins, is still mathematically in the hunt, but he has an uphill struggle. He has to win and get some help from the 3 drivers in front of him. The other 3 drivers, Upton, Cangialosi, and Dickerson, if they win, they clinch the championship. So they have that much in their own hands, regardless of what their competitors do. But Pedersen will need some help. He's going to have to win. If he finishes anything below a win, he's no longer in the hunt for the championship, but he can clinch it if he wins. And there are some problems for the 3 in front of him. Victor Anderson, also a guaranteed entrant into this as the 5th place driver in the points, but he is mathematically out of the contention for the championship, but he could still get as high as 2nd in the championship, and there are awards to be given at the end of the day today for the top 3. The winner of the championship, the season championship, wins a complete set of Hankook tires from our sponsor Hankook, the official tire of the Formula Regional Americas Series. The 2nd place winner, a 90-day Pit Fit training regimen from our sponsor Pit Fit. And the 3rd place finisher wins an Olumagato watch custom made specifically for this championship. So there's lots to play for. And David Porcelli now takes over the top spot with a 1:16.21. David raced with us for the first time last weekend at Sebring and was involved or sort of triggered a first lap incident that took out a bunch of contenders. And that has opened the door for Blake Upton to take over the points lead, as he only scored a single point at Sebring. Dario Cangialosi scored 2. Dakota Dickerson scored 4. Benjamin Pedersen, the eventual winner, was able to miss all the carnage, and he scored maximum points with 25 in the last race at Sebring.
Yeah, Sebring was a very entertaining track to watch these guys race in the penultimate round, but now we're here at the Fan's Choice of Laguna Seca. We had a vote going on throughout all last week, and everyone was choosing tracks. Some tracks were up there that were out of left field. I remember Iowa Speedway was one of them, and I was very hoping for that racetrack. Because imagine these guys around an oval. Come on, that would have been amazing. I would get some Freedom 75 vibes from that little race. And anyone experiencing USF 2000 would know that is a race you definitely want to watch.
Oh, and by the way, Austin, since you're a Texan, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Hey!
As I know you were pulling for Talladega, but unfortunately
Yes.
there weren't enough fans that agreed with you for that one.
No one else is a sadist like me.
Exactly. Simon Sykes takes over the top spot. One of the guest drivers here. We have guest drivers in the top 2 positions at the moment as we are coming up to the last moments of qualifying. Sykes on the provisional pole with a 16.89. His best time, a 16.1. Benjamin Waddell only 4/100ths of a second back at a 16.14. Dakota Dickerson another 600ths back. Then David Porcelli 200ths back. Look at that. The top 6 cars are separated by 14/100ths of a second.
That is faster than you can blink.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As far as the championship contenders, Dakota Dickerson is the highest placed championship contender so far. Dario Cangialosi is now 6th quick as it stands right now. Benjamin Pedersen is 10th fastest.
We just had a very big collision at the end of qualifying. That was Benjamin Pedersen, or I believe Dickerson, is slamming into a car that is parked immediately on the back end. I'm sorry for the little jump scare I just gave you, but the ending of this track is very sudden to these guys. Oh, glad we cut away right there because that would have been a big crash. But qualifying is over here at Laguna Seca, and there are plenty of points to be fighting for, main championship points, and also another battle that we've been following is the Hard Charger Award.
Jordan Messig is the leader in the Hard Charger Award, and he is competing here tonight. Unfortunately, the next 2 drivers are not here with us this evening as they didn't pre-qualify in last night's session. So his closest pursuer would be Logan Cuson. He is 16 overtakes back. Blake Upton is also in contention for not only the championship, but the Hard Charger Award. He is only 18 markers back, but they would have to qualify. But Jordan Messig is in a position to clinch the championship because he's qualified all the way back in 20th position. So he can make up
his
a
rival.
He can make up a bunch. Go ahead.
If his rival, Logan Cuson, wins the race and Jordan Messig does not finish, Logan Cuson will win the championship.
Exactly right.
Because Logan is in 16th as we bring up the grid.
Blake Upton down in 13th. Let's do the starting grid for you. Dakota Dickerson is your pole sitter. Alongside him in row 1 will be Simon Sykes. In row 2, Ben Waddell and David Porcelli. In row number 3, Joshua Carr, the reigning F4 U.S. champion, who's moving up to Formula Regional this year. Dario Cangialosi, one of the championship contenders, is in alongside him. Benjamin Pedersen inside of row 8, along with Nelson Mason. Quinlan Law and Bradley Sikorsky make up row 5. Row 6 has Victor Anderson and Jonathan Scarallo. Blake Upton, the championship leader, in row 7 alongside Zachary Rivard. Andrew Dobby, the last driver who qualified in pre-qualifying last night, is alongside Logan Cuson. Marco Kosick in number 15 is in row number 9 alongside veteran campaigner Nico Rondet. Arias Doikmejian is in the 07 car in row 10 alongside Jordan Messig, the leader in the Seatbelt Hard Charger Award. And Josh Bethune rounds out the top 21. Josh technically not eligible to compete here, but he is on the starting grid. Waiting for the final preparations to count down. We're still waiting on Dakota Dickerson to take his spot in the pole position on the front row.
I believe Dakota is getting the quad squad ready and a bit hyped for this, as we are here 21 cars on the grid. Well, currently 20 as we're waiting for Dakota, who should show up in about 5, 4, 3, there he is, 2, 1.
It's amazing how they pop into view. Here come the lights for the season finale. We're going to settle a championship at the end of this race. 30 minutes long. The lights are out and we're away. Sykes gets a great start, and he's going to be alongside Dickerson as they drag race down toward the Andretti hairpin. Sykes with maybe a nose ahead, but Dickerson hangs on to that inside line. It looks like Waddell's going to try to follow him through the Andretti hairpin, but not quite able to get it done. Yes, he does. So Benjamin Waddell takes over second spot. Then Simon Sykes, right behind him, David Porcelli and Joshua Carr. So Dickerson doing exactly what he needs to do to try to put his hands on this championship, just as he clinched the Formula Regional Americas Championship a year ago. Through turn 5 for the first time as they begin up the hill. Go ahead, Austin.
What a defensive start by Dickerson. He let Simon Sykes have the outside line with a great start, but he held on to the inside line, which completely nullified that start by Simon Sykes, and Ben Waddell jumped into second place right there, and Simon Sykes just got played and fell down into third place as we got a big crash into the corkscrew. Siscorsi, Scarallo, Dobby, and 4 more cars are up and upside down, and Ben Waddell is off as well.
Waddell spins it there at the exit of turn 8, which is the corkscrew. He's able to make it back on the track down at turn number 10, and he is going to make it into the pit lane. So Waddell must have some damage as he is taken to the pit lane. Looks like
Logan Cousson's off as well, and the entire the entire midfield has just been scrambled up through that corkscrew, as that crash pretty much collected everybody who was looking for a great start here today.
Cangialosi and Pedersen running nose to tail as we see as Waddell.
Oh my goodness, that's a scary ride.
Big hit for Benjamin Waddell. But he has rejoined as there he is coming out of the pit lane and it's rejoining. But let's turn our attention back to the race in front as David Porcelli spins it. They're at turn number 6, making the climb up the hill.
He's avoided the wall, and all the other cars, and he's going to rejoin back up in 10th. And here's a replay of the chaos that just happened at the corkscrew. There are so many different things happening right there. I'm not sure which one to comment on, but I do know that Marco was airborne for a good 2 seconds.
Dickerson maintains the lead over Sykes. The interval is less than a second, about 0.8 of a second. Pedersen is up to third now and doing what he needs to do. Remember, Benjamin Pedersen has to win this race if he's got a chance at the championship. Cangialosi is right behind him by about 3/4 of a second. And then Joshua Carr, Nelson Mason, Blake Upton, Victor Anderson, Zachary Rivard, and David Porcelli are your top 10. But Dakota Dickerson with about a 3/4 of a second lead right now as we ride with Victor Anderson as he's chasing down Zachary Rivard. Only about 0.3 of a second separate those two in that battle for 8th position. In fact, a big train of cars there, starting with Benjamin Pedersen, Cangialosi, Carr, Mason, Upton, Rivard, and Anderson all in a row. David Porcelli running in 10th is about 4 seconds behind. As we go back to the front now, Dakota Dickerson hangs on to that lead, diving down that 3-story drop that is the corkscrew. If you've never been to Laguna Seca in person, the cameras do not do it justice. The corkscrew is a whole lot steeper than it looks on TV, I'll tell you that.
If you've never driven the corkscrew in real life, it feels like you're jumping off a platform and landed and just landed just with your entire body, because the amount of G-forces you feel at the very bottom compared to the top is it's insane. It feels like a roller coaster, honestly.
Looks like Quinlan Law has looped it.
Yeah, he's gone off just a little bit too excited as he comes right in front of Dobby, and Dobby might have screamed something into his helmet right there.
That's a Nomex moment for sure, but Quinlan Law dropping out of 16th spot as he just took too much speed through that last turn number 10, coming down the hill from the corkscrew. And a lazy spin, but he's able to keep it off the barrier, so that's a good thing.
And out of the other cars.
Exactly. Dickerson at the point. Sykes about a second behind now as Dickerson is beginning to consolidate his lead. That blind corner down into the corkscrew. Benjamin Pedersen about 3 seconds further up the road. Dario Cangialosi also challenging for the championship. Right behind Pedersen is those 2 orange cars running nose to tail, separated by about 0.6 of a second. as they come through the last turn, turn 11, onto the pit straightaway. You can see the two orange cars in the background, and right behind them is the reigning F4 U.S. champion, Joshua Carr, as Dickerson smoothly down into the Andretti hairpin. Sorry, Austin, go ahead.
Joshua Carr, very solid race so far. He's been sitting in 5th place from the start, as that we're looking at Arias Dukmed, who has gone off and reversed onto the track in the Corkscrew. Very, very unusual spot to see a car stopped right there, because usually momentum carries them down the Corkscrew, but a car stopped right there was probably the most dangerous part, because that apex of the Corkscrew is blind. And if you see a car stopped on the apex, you want to go wide, but then that's just going to threaten the entire rest of the field, as it is insane. As we got a car off, that's Jordan Carr, Joshua Carr.
Yeah, took it a little too wide there at turn number 6. Was able to get back on the throttle, however. He's lost a couple spots down to 8th position as he's chasing Zachary Rivard, one of our guest drivers. As we can see, he just caught the inside curb, and that threw the weight balance of the car off, and he spun off to the outside, but was able to keep it off the wall. Here's the battle between Pedersen and Cangialosi, as the two orange cars separated by half a second as they go under the bridge and head down toward the Andretti hairpin. This the battle for 3rd and 4th.
And, oh my goodness, Dario Cangialosi using all the track, and then some of the grass, gravel, dirt on the outside. I can tell you, this place in spring, it's very green as Dario Cangialosi gets into the gray right there and off into that dirt area, and he's going even more off track right now. This is definitely not Baja. That's a couple 100 miles down south of California, but you're in the right area for that, but you're supposed to keep it on the black stuff, Dario.
Exactly, and that dirt is finely dusted like powder almost, and it's easily coming up on the racetrack and creates problems for the other drivers. You can see a little cloud of dust kicked up by Benjamin Pedersen as he descended down that 3-story drop that is the Corkscrew turn, one of the most famous turns in all of motor racing. Cangialosi once again right out to the edge of the gator's teeth. This is a great passing opportunity here at turn 11, but he's not close enough to pull the trigger. But these two may be getting a little bit closer to Simon Sykes. They're only about 1.5 seconds behind Sykes, who in turn is now about 2 seconds behind Dakota Dickerson. So Dickerson doing exactly what he needs to clinch the championship. If he wins it, it's his, despite what the drivers behind him do. But Benjamin Pedersen, Dario Cangialosi still in the hunt in 3rd and 4th right now. Blake Upton, the points leader, back in 6th, is going to have to pedal a little harder if he's going to keep his championship hopes alive by the time we get to the end of this. But lots of racing left to go. We're only 8 minutes into the 30-minute event.
8 minutes into this event on lap 7. Lap times here take about 1 minute and 16 seconds to complete here. So a lot can happen in such a short time, and we aren't even 1/3 of the way through this race here at lovely Laguna Seca. Dakota Dickerson leads by 1.8 seconds ahead of Simon Sykes. Benjamin Pedersen, Dario Cangialosi, and Nelson Mason are top 5 here.
Best battle coming into turn 11 right now is between Pedersen and Cangialosi, two of the drivers still eligible for the championship. Pedersen, remember, has to win and get some help. So right at the moment, he's a couple spots behind where he needs to be if he's going to clinch the championship. Dario Cangialosi doing what he needs to do to keep the pressure on as Pedersen goes a little wide through the Andretti hairpin.
He was very unstable on the brakes going in there. We race in a fixed setup here in the FR America's iRacing Invitational Series. So everyone is balanced out with everyone else setup-wise, but sometimes something can happen setup-wise that someone is just not that fulfilled with. Either brake pressure, brake bias, or you aren't happy with the aero adjustments.
Looking at the battle for the Seatbelt Hard Charger, Doesn't look like Jordan Messick being challenged at the moment. He's up 8 spots from where he qualified, so he's extending his lead over Logan Cuson, who's up only 2 from his qualifying position. They're running 12th and 14th, respectively. The man who's third is some 18 points back, and that's Blake Upton. He's up 7, but that won't be enough to get him all the way to the top, but he could overtake Cuson for the second spot. We'll keep an eye on that as it goes along, but we continue to follow this great battle between Pedersen and Cangialosi, as Sykes maintaining about a 1.9 second disadvantage from Dakota Dickerson, the leader, literally from the jump.
Go off track. That's Logan Cuson. Well, if he was trying to make moves up there, he wasn't going to see it anymore by going way off track. Way too much mustard going in there, and he's hit the wall.
Yeah, he hit the curb at the inside of turn 10, and that definitely upset the balance of the car.
Dario Cangialosi's slow. What's happened to Cangialosi? Cangialosi's hit the grass, and he's spun it around, and he's smacked into the wall.
That's at turn number 4, just past the bridge. So Cangialosi has definitely put a dent in his championship aspirations, as Joshua Carr now with Victor Anderson right behind him, both in that yellow livery. Carr in 7th spot, Anderson just behind him in 8th. Victor
Joshua
Anderson,
Carr,
top 5 in the points. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
That's basically all I was going to say, is that Anderson, top 5 in the points, had an automatic berth in this season finale.
As we were looking at Joshua Carr, he was trying to recover from a mistake after going wide as he was coming up the, I like to call it the rising chute before you hit the corkscrew. And that inside king, just if you hit that curb just a little bit wrong, and you just get caught in that ditch, the car just gets sent into the inside wall. And thankfully, he kept it out of the wall and kept it pointed forward. So we look back from Blake Upton on Zachary Rivard, Joshua Carr, Anderson, and Persilli.
David Porcelli back in 9th position. Those 4 separated by just over 2 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that at the back of the screen, but Joshua Carr got very loose once again. Got caught out in that little rut that's on the apex of that corner, and the car just got so upset that he went a bit sideways, but he saved it.
But he has dropped back 2 spots, as that allowed both Victor Anderson and David Porcelli to get around him. So now this 3-car battle has Anderson at the point in 7th, then Porcelli in the middle, then Joshua Carr right behind him in that 9th position. Heading down toward the Andretti hairpin, Victor Anderson, 5th in the points right now. Just behind him, David Porcelli, who took his first start with us last weekend at Sebring. Doing a great job now in the top 10.
The race is
Great
starting to
shot
calm
off
down.
the nose of Joshua Carr's car.
The race
Go ahead,
is starting to calm down right now throughout most of these drivers. They realize that it's a very long race. 30 minutes here is going to equal to about 28 laps we're expecting here out on track at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as we ride on board Porcelli heading into the corkscrew. And oh, that was a very nice line through there. Some advice for anyone who's never driven the corkscrew in real life. When you approach it for the first time, either if you're just testing a car in an open practice session or just driving it on a open road day, don't panic as Porcelli goes wide, locked up the brakes, and a wonderful pass up the inside opportunistically by Joshua Carr, getting back into 8th place.
Yeah, you can see Porcelli just kept the braking a little bit too late, and that opened the door for Joshua Carr to slot down the inside. As we look out the back of Carr's rear wing right now. So this battle continues. Anderson in front, Carr now up to 8th, Porcelli back to 9th. Meanwhile, at the front, Dakota Dickerson maintaining that lead of about 1 3/4 seconds over Simon Sykes. In fact, he's increased that lead, as you can see, on the last couple of laps. Benjamin Pedersen, another 4 seconds up the road.
The championship is still up for grabs. Dakota Dickerson, if he wins the championship, if he wins the race, doesn't mean he wins the championship, because it's gotta matter on where Blake and Dario finish. And Dario is down into 10th place. Blake Upton is in 5th place. So the points are all up in the air, and I'm not that good at math right now. So, oh, Dario Cangialosi
Spins it again at turn 10. That's the second time he's had trouble there at turn number 10. Has come through the rainy curve, turn 9, down into turn 10. It's easy to carry a little too much speed into that tricky sweeping turn. Turn 10 is the one that kind of invites you to take it, if not flat, at least with your foot firmly on the floor. And Cangialosi's gotten caught out there on 2 occasions.
As thankfully everyone in the FR Americas chat is, especially the FR Americas account, is helping helping unconfuse everyone here on the stakes going throughout the race. If Blake finishes 2nd and Dickerson wins, they tie for the championship. So currently, Dakota Dickerson is in the hot seat for winning the championship.
Yeah, because that would be his 2nd win, and on the strength of 2 wins to a single win for Blake Upton, that would put the championship in Dakota's hands. So right now, Dakota controls his destiny. Blake Upton would have to get all the way to 2nd to challenge him for that championship win. Cangialosi would have to get around Dickerson and take the win in order to score more points.
First, he's got to get off the. He's first got to get onto track, and Cangialosi has been struggling this entire first half of the race. And this corner is just, he goes onto the inside, hits the apex, he goes off. He goes wide to avoid the apex, he goes off. That corner is just not helping Dakota Dickerson at Dario Cangialosi. I am sorry. It's not helping him at all.
Meanwhile, Simon Sykes is beginning to draw a little bit closer to our leader, Dakota Dickerson. That interval's down to about 1.25 seconds, as it was as high as 2 seconds just a few laps ago. Benjamin Pedersen alone now in that 3rd spot, with Nelson Mason about 1.5 seconds behind him. Mason just set the fast lap of the race at a 16:04, so he'll be one to watch. As Blake Upton giving chase to Zachary Rivard. Upton, the points leader, trying to move up into that 5th spot and get a little closer, hoping for some help from the drivers in front of him.
That was a lovely move by Zachary Rivard, setting it up the inside into the corkscrew. You don't see a lot of moves going up into there, and Blake Upton knew what he needed to do to stay within the championship fight. He let him go by and didn't risk a massive incident. As we look up front, Dakota Dickerson and the gap to Simon Sykes is falling down to 1 second between them. Simon Sykes might have a chance to dethrone Dickerson right here.
If Dickerson does fall back to 2nd, that would give him 94 points at the end of the day. And Cangialosi is not going to be a factor, I don't think, but Blake Upton could finish as low as 4th and still clinch the championship at that rate. So Dickerson really needs to hang on to 1st place if he's going to clinch the championship here. And it looks like Simon Sykes is going to try to take that away from him. And I should say, Sykes is not eligible to score points because he is one of our guest drivers. So as long as Dakota finishes ahead of Benjamin Pedersen, he should be okay.
That is 100% true. Simon Sykes, a guest driver and a wonderful guest driver that we're having. We love having him in here in the chat with us before and after the races in the interview rooms. He's always a fun guy to just talk and chat around. Even in the short rounds we've been watching it, this is a crazy fight. 1-2 cars wide, almost got 3 wide on the exit of that curb, and whoa! The 14 car of David Fratelli swings it around the outside. They're nose to tail right now as they are heading into the Andretti hairpin. It's Rivard, Carr, and Fratelli nose to tail through there. And it's just a lovely fight for 7th place.
Porcelli squeezing Joshua Carr right up against the wall as they were making their way down the front pit straightaway. Now they're about equally spaced as they make it through Turn number 4, heading for turn 5 and beginning the long climb up the hill. With about 10 minutes remaining in the race, this has been the best battle on the racetrack all race long, as these three have been swapping these three positions back and forth throughout the course of the race. We ride with Victor Anderson. Now we ride with David Porcelli, with Joshua Carr just in front of him in that very recognizable yellow livery. You can hear the revs come up on Porcelli's car as the rear end gets light coming over the crest of the hill.
Yeah,
Down
Joshua's
into
car
the tricky
was,
turn 10.
even with all the weight coming down on that suspension, Joshua's car still got extremely loose on the exit because it's just so slippery down there with all the dirt that gets kicked up. It is just laying on the, well, it's just, I would call it the apex of the hill at the bottom of the corkscrew. That's the word I was going for. It's just so slippery right there as Porcelli looking around the outside. Joshua Carr coming around to block him, and that is a wonderful defensive job by Joshua Carr, keeping Porcelli behind him.
Porcelli was going to try to do the switchback, the over-under move there, but Joshua Carr saw it coming and made that car just as wide as he had to, maybe off the power just a little bit at the apex to back up David Porcelli just a touch.
As Dario Cangialosi, another incident has happened for him. Oh my goodness. Cangialosi is up on his wall and he is out of the race.
It was down at the hairpin. It just either lost his brakes or left the braking way too late. As we go back to this,
he accelerated to the wall.
Yeah, it kind of looked that way.
Kind of sounded that way.
Porcelli right on the gearbox of Joshua Carr as they continue to battle for 7th position. Through turn 10, you can hear him feathering the throttle off of that turn down into the final turn on the racetrack. Let's see if Carr drifts over to the wall once again to try to force Porcelli to go the long way around as they get down to the hairpin, and they've got some traffic up in front of them, which could be a factor here. We've still got 19 cars on the lead lap.
It's a very small lap, but it's a very competitive lap as it is. 8 minutes left here at Mazda, at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. I knew I was going to mess it up.
Old habits die hard, my friend. I hear you. As the battle at the front is really getting interesting now, as Simon Sykes has drawn to within 0.6 of a second of Dakota Dickerson. Again, if Dickerson finishes ahead of Pedersen, he has got the championship in his hand.
And that will mark his 3 consecutive championship wins with the SCCA Pro Racing F4, F3, and now iRacing. If he keeps in P1 and ahead of Pedersen, well, just ahead of Pedersen.
Dakota is a bit of a homer. He is from California, of course, and I'm sure has driven this racetrack quite a bit in his career, as he is now really coming under pressure from Simon Sykes. Half a second is all that separates them as we ride along with that second place runner. Remember, Sykes not in the championship battle, so Dickerson can afford to let him by just as long as he can keep Benjamin Pedersen behind him. And Pedersen is some 4.5 seconds up the road from this battle. So Dickerson probably won't defend too strongly. He'd certainly like to have the overall win, but his eye is on the prize of that full set of Hankook tires for his real race car once we get to racing later this summer. Climbing the hill toward the corkscrew turn. Go ahead, Austin.
I believe being a racing driver, you do not even want to even think about letting the car behind. You're going to race it out as hard as you can between 2 good old boys. Dakota Dickerson and Simon Sykes. I believe we're going to have a wonderful battle here with the last 6 minutes left in this race.
Simon Sykes out of Atlanta, Georgia. Dakota Dickerson makes his home in San Diego, California. A bit further down the coast from the Northern California wine country where Laguna Seca is. As Blake Upton and Zachary Rivard having a great battle for 5th and 6th. Remember, Upton is the championship leader coming into this event, but where he's running right now, he will not stay that way, as Dakota Dickerson will take over that championship lead if things finish the way they are. But we've still got 6 minutes of racing left to go. So let's not, we've certainly had some interesting finishes in the last several races, so we'll keep our eyes on the prize here, as there's lots of racing left to go. Zach Rivard, one of our guest drivers, pressuring the points leader, Blake Upton. for that 5th and 6th position. Heading toward turn 5 and beginning the long climb up the hill.
That climb, when you start to initiate it, you feel it's like kind of sudden, then it tops out. Then you see the even bigger climb as Zachary Rivard takes a great line through that small little kink right there, using all the track. And right now it feels like they're going up a mountain. Then you top out hard onto the brakes, and then you're thrown down the corkscrew right there. And still goes downhill even more. And right as you reach the apex of this corner, it bottoms out. And you feel like you just went from high altitude all the way down to beach level, all in the span of 10 seconds.
Track temperature only 85 degrees, so that is certainly going to be a good thing for the tires here. It's not to give a whole lot of tire wear. Ambient temperature 79 degrees, a light breeze. As we follow this battle for 5th and 6th between Blake Upton and Zachary Rivard. Meanwhile, up front, Dakota Dickerson solidifies his hold on the lead just a bit as he stretched it back out to about 3/4 of a second. It was down to less than half a second just a few turns ago, but it looks like Dickerson may have saved something at the end as we're down to about 4 minutes remaining in this event, enough for probably 3 more laps as they plunge down the hill with Simon Sykes doing his best to take the overall lead. That would be his first win on the season, and it would be, if Sykes is able to do it, it would be our 7th different winner over the 7 races. We've had 6 different winners so far. Sykes has finished as high as 2nd at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, but has not tasted the top step of the podium yet. This could be his opportunity, as once again, he's got that interval down under half a second as they go through the Andretti hairpin.
No repeat winners have ever happened so far in the FR America's iRacing Pro Invitational, as Dakota Dickerson is looking to change that right now. But Simon Sykes, he's been sitting in silver for way too much. He wants to taste gold right here. So we're definitely going to see a very entertaining fight with 3 minutes to go.
Porcelli and Carr nose to tail, and they're catching up to Zachary Rivard as Porcelli tries to stuff it down the inside at turn number 6, but can't quite get it done. Turn 5 that was, should we say. They're in 6 right now. Now they're at the top of the hill. The little right-hand kink leading up to the descent into the corkscrew turn. Rivard, Carr, and Porcelli all in the shot, with Victor Anderson just now coming through the rainy curves. The 4th car in the shot. Blake Upton has pulled away from this 4-car battle just a bit, as he is comfortably now in 5th position with about 1.5 minutes remaining. 1, maybe 2 more laps. Back to the front.
And Sykes goes way off track, but he's not losing a lot of time from him. He's going to lose a bit of traction for getting his tires all grassy, dirty. It's a mixture of grass and dirt on the outside of this track. I tell you, if you ever look at Laguna Seca and the photos in the springtime, it is a different track to look at. You think it would be a state park. This track in the springtime is just beautiful, but the sun is just beating down on it so much that the grass dies very fast, and I wish more races were held here in the spring.
Exactly right. It is one of the most picturesque racetracks. The setting of the racetrack is one of the most picturesque scenes in the country, in the world perhaps, as they come across the line here with about 1 minute remaining. And I think this may be the final lap of the race, and that is the case. You can see the graphic down in the lower left. Dakota Dickerson, 2.2 miles away from being the first repeat winner on the season of the FR America's iRacing Invitational, and the first driver to clinch the championship back to back to back, which would be the F4 US Championship 2 years ago, clinching the Formula Regional Americas Championship this year, and in a position now to take the iRacing Invitational He's just got a handful of turns left as they climb the hill for the final time on the final lap. Dickerson with the situation in hand at the moment. As it appears, Sykes about half a second, a little more, now 0.6 of a second behind. Is Sykes going to pull a Zanardi on the last lap here at the Corkscrew?
Well, he certainly descended into the Corkscrew. He's gained about 0.2 going in there. Dakota Dickerson took everything that he could to be sure that he was going to go through there safely. He's got 2 corners to make a move. Simon Sykes is closing in. 4/10 separate them. 1 corner to go. Simon Sykes, he took a lunge for it, but was just unable to clench it in there. And taking the win, the first double winner and a 3-time in a row SCCA Pro Championship winner, Dakota Dickerson.
Simon Sykes comes home in second overall. Benjamin Pedersen comes home in second in class, if you will. And third overall, Nelson Mason clinches 4th spot. There goes Blake Upton across the line. So let me do a quick bit of math here. Blake finishing in 3rd spot will end up with 98 points. Dakota Dickerson will have 101. And Dario Cangialosi, falling off the points, will end up with 78. So he'll fall to 4th. Benjamin Pedersen will end up with 82. So he will drop up into 2nd spot. So it looks like it's going to be Dickerson, Pedersen, Upton, and Cangialosi in that order in the top 4 at the end of the season.
What a crazy season it has been for all these drivers. They've had highs, they've had lows, they've had races that they wanted to forget and races they wanted to watch on repeat. And for one driver and his fans, they've been sticking in there to finally witness the first double winner here in the FR America's iRacing Invitational Championship. La Champion, Dakota Dickerson.
And let's give a shout out to the winner of the Seatbelt Hard Charger Award for the season, and it is Jordan Messick, as he picks up 9 spots in this event. In fact, he'll win this event for the second time. The second time he's had the most passes over the course of the 7-race season, and that will clinch the Seatbelt Hard Charger Award for Jordan Messick. Congratulations to Jordan. As Dakota and Simon slowly down the front straightaway, as we get a replay of them coming across the stripe. So new champion, Dakota Dickerson, the first repeat winner on the 7-race season of the Formula Regional America's iRacing Invitational. Simon Sykes finishing in second, the official margin of victory, 0.361 seconds. Benjamin Pedersen gave it a valiant charge to 3rd overall, second in class, and he'll take 2nd place in the championship, we believe. Nelson Mason comes home in 4th, one of our guest drivers. Blake Upton in the 5th position. Zachary Rivard, another guest driver, in 6th. David Porcelli, a great run, up into 7th position after a race-long battle with Rivard and Victor Anderson, who was 5th in the points coming into this round. Marco Kachik will finish in 9th. Jordan Messing, the Seatbelt Hard Charger Award winner, takes the 10th spot. Nico Ronday, the veteran campaigner, alongside Ben Waddell, with Jonathan Scarallo, Bradley Sikorsky, Joshua Carr, Josh Bethune, Quinlan Law, and Logan Cuson as your top 18. Dario Cangialosi, after an eventful day, ends up in 19th position, 8 laps down. Andrew Dobby and Arias Dukmajian rounding out the 21-car field. Waiting for our top 3 to make their way into the interview room, and we'll have a chance to congratulate our new champion, Dakota Dickerson.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks very much.
Dakota, congratulations, my friend. 3 championships in a row, buddy.
Now, is it 3? I wasn't sure. I was just chatting with Ben and Simon. We weren't sure what the points were out, but that's awesome. Yeah, it was a really fun race. Simon kept me super honest there throughout the entire race. It was super fun, and from there I knew if I won the race, we had pretty good chances of winning the championship. But yeah, all in all, super fun.
Great job. I know Simon was really putting the pressure on in the closing laps, as it looked like his car was coming to him perhaps in the closing stages, and he had it down right on your gearbox there for the last few turns, but you managed to hold him off.
Yeah, for sure. I think he actually had probably more overall pace than I did, but around like a medium high speed track through 3, 4, 5, and 6, the kind of aero wash definitely kept him at bay. So you could definitely see him closing up on the brakes, but the medium speed corners is kind of what kept us alive. But yeah, just tried not to make any mistakes. Can't thank FR Americas enough for putting this on and giving the fans an opportunity to still watch some racing. And obviously, all of our partners that you saw in the car, Stress Engineering Services, Rox Baldwin, all those guys. It's been fun to represent them in the iRacing format.
Well, unfortunately, since you're not able to defend your crown in the Formula Regional Americas Championship, that set of Hankook tires, could you talk to the Hankook folks about getting a set of tires perhaps for your Ligier?
For sure, I think there's. I mean, they make awesome street tires too, and I'm due for one pretty soon, so maybe we can represent Hankook on the normal streets as well. But if not, I think there's still some awesome prizes going down to third. So it's great to see all of the partners in the real series and the real championship getting involved for this iRacing championship, and obviously none of it would happen without their support.
Well, congratulations once again, Dakota, and well done, well played. Our first repeat winner in the course of this 7-race season, and of course, the first driver to clinch 3 titles back to back to back. So, congratulations, my friend. It's a short trip home for you from us from Laguna Seca to San Diego. So, enjoy your
Yeah,
Cinco de Mayo.
for sure. Even a shorter trip downstairs to get a bottle of champagne, so that's even better.
Sounds great. Thanks, Dakota.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Simon Sykes will be approaching the interview microphone here momentarily.
Hi there.
Hey, Simon, congratulations. Second place finish. You seem to be the bridesmaid on a couple occasions during the course of the season. Just weren't able to quite get to the top of the order, but still second place pretty good. And you were definitely putting the pressure on in the closing stages.
Yeah, it seems like second place has been my most common finishing spot. It's not too bad. I'll take it. Dakota's a talented driver. I was able to close the gap a little there at the end, but there's a slight amount of aero wash, and it's really hard to make moves when you get really close in these F3 cars. But I gave it my best. I think we set some quick laps and closed pretty close to the win.
What's in the future for you, Simon? Where do you head later this season when we get to racing for real?
So I'll be in the FRP F1600 Championship Series with Greg
Awesome.
Rice. I'm signed on for the full season this year, and looking for possibly maybe FR Americas or the Road to Indy next year.
Congratulations on that. So, Simon, thank you. Great race once again, and congratulations on being on the podium for the second time this year.
Appreciate it.
As we wait for our third place overall finisher, Benjamin Pedersen. There's Benjamin. Benjamin, congratulations on your third place finish overall. I know that the points, it was going to be kind of an uphill battle since you missed the first race at Atlanta. You had to win and get some help. You came close. You came in second in the points championship, but sadly, not enough help from Dakota to allow you to take that top spot.
Yeah, really good race from Dakota. I mean, he was just flying and no mistakes. So yeah, big congrats to him. I'm not quite sure. I haven't been able to see the points here, how it all works out, but congrats to whoever won the championship. And
Dakota.
yeah, Dakota. Okay, nice. So nice to see a global racing group driver up there. But yeah, this has just been a load of fun. Really nice to be able to race with all the guys we're racing with in real life. So just really enjoyed it.
So we talked last race meeting where you finished atop the order with back-to-back wins, basically as the points champion. That you're headed back overseas to England once we get racing back underway. Fingers crossed that that's sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty eager on getting going, getting on the plane and flying back to England with the double R guys. But yeah, I mean, nobody really knows what's going on yet, but just staying positive about it and making sure I'm as ready as possible for when the green flag drops.
And by the way, just so you know, by my unofficial math, Dakota will be the champion. Blake will end up second. You move up one spot to third, and Dario drops to fourth, based on the finishing order, unofficial finishing order, I
Okay.
should say.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good result for Global Racing Group, and yeah, a pretty good testament to their program as well. So that's good to see.
All right. Well, congratulations once again, Benjamin, and we'll see you down the road, I hope.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'll see you down the road.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Sounds great, Ben. So with that, we put a bow on it, and that's the end of the inaugural Formula Regional Americas iRacing Invitational Championship. As all 7 races have been exciting ones indeed, and this one did not disappoint. And congratulations to our reigning Formula Regional Americas champion Dakota Dickerson on clinching the championship here at Laguna Seca. Austin, I shed a bit of a tear. This is our last time working together.
Yeah, sadly, it is going to be our last time working together for now. Hopefully, something comes along in for the future. Hopefully, this continues to be a yearly thing because I'm pretty sure it brought a lot of people together, fans of the series, drivers of the series, and then just fans of racing in general. Because at the start of this season, I barely knew a lot about FR Americas. I knew about its existence, and then we hopped in on race number 2 with Apex Racing TV, and oh my goodness, I feel a part of this family now. I honestly do.
And we're glad to have you aboard. And I have to give a shout out to our friend Marco Barbonara, who is staying up very late in his native Italy to make these wonderful pictures available to us. Marco, thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you throughout the course of this 7-race season. And I can't stop without giving a shout out to Amy Greenway, the communications director of the SCCA Pro Racing, the sanctioning body for Formula Regional Americas and the F4 US Championship. This was her brainchild, and she has shepherded it home in outstanding fashion. So, Amy, God bless you. Thanks for making this possible. And with that, remind you to jump onto the Instagram meeting room at the end of the race here, where all of the drivers hopefully will be there to answer your questions and do a little bench racing. So, happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. I'm John Phippen. Great to be with you. See you next season.